Hello, my name's Kip Hakes. Welcome to my channel if it's the first time here, and welcome back if it's not. Now in today's Fix It Friday video, we're going to be looking at this, and this is a Nintendo Switch first generation, and it belongs to James. Now, he looks after his stuff really well, but there's a problem with this Switch, and I don't think it's his fault. So let's see if I can replicate the issue. Let's get it switched on. So you can see here that both Joy-Cons are connected and working, but he's saying sometimes this red one just seems to randomly disconnect. And also, if we take it off, it recognizes that it's off. Sometimes, I don't know if it's going to do it. Oh yeah, it recognizes that it's there. Ah, but see, look, it's disappeared now. It's lost connection. Now, I think it might be the Joy-Con rails, and the rails are basically these things here, and they connect to the Joy-Con. Now, it could be the rail on this side, on the Switch, or it could be the rail on here, on the Joy-Con. So one of them, or maybe both of them, need replacing. So in this video, what I'm going to do is replace those Joy-Con rails and see if it fixes the problem. So I think I'll start with replacing this one, and then if that doesn't fix the problem, I'll replace this one as well. Now, unfortunately, because we've only got one Switch in the family, then I can't test another Joy-Con, and I don't really want to buy another Joy-Con just to see if this is broken or not. So I've got a kit that contains both Joy-Con rails, and hopefully we can work out which is at fault and repair it. Now, this should be a relatively easy fix to do in theory. Now, I've never opened a Nintendo Switch before, so this is my first time, and yeah, I'm basically going to walk through that process today and see if I can fix this. This process is just sort of basically removing screws and a few connectors, so it shouldn't be too difficult, but we just got to tread really lightly and be really gentle, and hopefully it will all be okay. So I think the first step is getting the power off. Power off. There we go, so that's off now, and we'll get rid of both the Joy-Cons. And yeah, we'll flip it over. Now, I got this little kit from Amazon which contains Joy-Con rails for both sides on the Switch and both sides on the actual Joy-Cons. So I could replace all of them, and it also seems to come with some screwdrivers and a little spudgery tool, which is very kind of them. Now, I think this was around about the £10 mark. I'll put a link in the description to it. It's not hideously expensive, and it should be a relatively easy repair for, well, me and you to do at home, but we'll see, I guess. Now, yeah, I've got to just get into it. So we've got some 4 tri-wing screws on the back here to get rid of. So I think this is this tri-wing driver. So I'm applying a bit of downward force, so it hopefully won't strip the head. But yeah, just take it really slowly and really gently, and it should be okay. Also noting exactly where things are by using my blue mat, because I think the screws aren't always the same length. Now we need to change our head on the screwdriver and undo 3 more screws. So we've got 2 on the bottom and 1 at the top. Oh yeah, these are tiny little screws. Don't want to lose those guys. Right, then we've got this top screw. Really need one of those fancy iFixit kits. Okay, so that's those done. So then we've got screws in the center of each Joy-Con rail on either side. Depending on how hard this one is to replace, I might replace this one at the same time just for best practice. Okay, so now got to take the kickstand up and take the SD card out. Obviously yours might not have an SD card, mine does. Yeah, and there's a screw just under the micro SD card slot. Perfect. Okay, so open up the flap. Now we should be able to lift the rear panel up. There we go. So it's a bit dusty under there, so we'll give that a good clean before we put it back together. Okay, so there's a screw here on the SD card reader. So we need to remove this. Perfect. There's a little connector there. And then we've just got to push that back onto where it connects here when we reassemble it. Okay, so we need to remove this metal shielding now. So there are 6 screws dotted around that we've got to remove. And while I'm doing that, why don't I give a massive shout out to those of you who've joined the channel. If you want to join the channel, then you can do so from just 99p a month, and it really helps this channel. So anyway, the cool people who've already signed up are...
Thank you so much to the Kip fans that are No Name Added, Matt Lovies, JRC Electrical, For the Burbs, Jim Hook, Thor Z, Tim Salt, Robert A and Mark C. Those wonderful Kip early birds are Roberta Goranthamson, Stestix Fix, Dean Ball, Gary Bannum and The Coda. Then massive love to my Kip lovers who are Richard R. Blaster, Bella Webster and Lawrence Wilcox. And then we've got our amazing Kip nutters. Thank you so much to Ellis the DJ and Becky. Thank you. And we've got right at the top there, reigning champion David Elphick. He is a Kip mental and he's been here a while. Thank you so much, David, for your continued support.
Thank you so much to all those people who've joined. It really is appreciated. And if you don't want to join, then just please hit the subscribe button and the like. It helps the channel grow, even just by doing that. So thank you. There we go. Okay, so we're inside. That's what she said. So I've decided, because it's open and it seems daft not to, in this video I'm actually going to replace both of the rails. So this is our faulty one and this is our as not yet faulty one. Now I thought I might as well replace them, because if this one has failed, then it's more than likely that this one will fail at some point soon, maybe. So if we get them both replaced, that means you can see the whole process depending on which side you want to have replaced. So this is our faulty side at the moment, and the connector that we need to disconnect is there. And then if we move over to the other side, this is the one that is working okay at the moment, and the connector for it is there. Now I think what I'm going to do, though you don't really need to do it, is I'm going to crack out my microscope and I can show you everything under there. It just makes it a little bit easier for you to see what you're doing, because this is very, very small. It's that connector there, so it is actually quite tiny, and I do have very small hands, so that gives you some idea just how small it is. So if I get the microscope out, it will show you what you need to do with a bit more definition, hopefully. So let me get the microscope out. Okay, so before we continue, we need to disconnect the battery, because we don't really want to be working on a potentially live board. So to do that, this is the battery connector here with the red, grey and black wires. And we can just sort of lift up the connector with a spudger. There we go. That is free and out of the way. So we've got a Joy-Con rail connector here. This is on the left side, but it's on the right side when it's this way around. And we have to lift up this grey clip to release the cable. Just give that a little lift up. Perfect. And then we should be able to release the cable from this rail. So that is the left rail disconnected. And then we've got to move over to the other side, and we are looking here. Okay, so again, we've got to lift up this grey connector. There we go. And then take out the cable. Perfect. And just so you can see things a little bit properly, here is our battery connector, and there is our left Joy-Con rail cable. And then over this side, we've got our right Joy-Con rail connector. Okay, so the next job is to remove the 4 screws on the Joy-Con rails on both sides. So let's do that. Now these screws can be quite tight, so make sure that your screwdriver head is right in and apply some downward pressure so you don't strip the heads. Well, okay. That Joy-Con rail just fell out. So here is the left Joy-Con rail, all out and all removed. I've just got to remove the screws on this side. It does feel like the screws at the end are actually torqued up a little bit more than the screws in the middle. I suppose that's probably where it gets the most strain on the end. I've really enjoyed doing this actually. It was quite therapeutic. It's not super hard either. I think you've just got to be really careful, and especially when you're dealing with the little cables, you've just got to make sure you're using sort of like plastic or something soft like that. I think if I went a bit gung-ho, it might damage it. But then equally, I've got to get all the parts back in place, and I might need some metal tweezers, so that might all go out the window. Right, okay, will this one just fall off? No, it's just come out nice and easy. Now this connector's a bit strange because it's got a sort of pigtailiness to it. So that might be fun to try and replicate with the new one. We will see. Okay, so the kit has come supplied with the rails for both the Joy-Con and the Switch. So I just need to separate the two. I might well need the ones for the Joy-Cons, I don't know yet. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to screw both the rails in, and then we will look under the microscope to get the cable positioned back where it should be. I think that's the easiest way to do it. Right, so you don't need to worry about seeing this because it's just the reverse of what I've done. Okay, so we've got our rails installed there and here, and now we've got to reroute the cables back to where they should be. So I'm going to go under the microscope so you can see a little bit better what's going on. So there's the cable coming out of the Joy-Con rail and going whee, where it goes, meant to go in its connector there. So we need to push this cable down. So the circuit board is like that, and the cable sort of goes down like that, because that's how it was positioned originally. There you go, that's gone down into the groove. Oh, that's nearly in position. Just needs nudging over a little bit. Aha, I think we are roughly in position, so let's just pull it down gently. Just using my tweezers with the cap on to hold the cable down in position, and that worked really nicely. So then, now that's in, we've just got to do the locking tab and push that down. There we go. So that's one side done. Now we've got to move over to this side where we've got to sort of make it into a bit of a pigtail to get back into that connector there.
Hi, VoiceOver Kip here. Now the footage that you're watching has been sped up to 999 times speed because this took me ages. It's really horrible and really hard to get that cable pigtailed and straight into the connector. So yeah, I thought I'd show you all the footage, but just very quickly.
I think I'm going to have to do it really gently with a pair of tweezers. Come on, that is perfectly straight, surely. There she goes, and close that down. There we go, so it's got to sort of curl around like that, and that is a pain in the butt to do. But it's done and it's in there, I think. So there's that connector in. And there's that pain in the bum connector in. Okay, so the Joy-Con rails are connected. I've just got to plug the battery back in. You just sort of press it down. It clicks into place. Before I put it back together, I just want to show you this. It's a Kip Hakes mug from merch.kiphakes.tv. If you want to buy any merch, just go to merch.kiphakes.tv and you'll see what is on offer. And it's all very cool. And this is a nice big mug. So, Right, let's get this back together again. Now, before I do, as I said earlier, you should replace the thermal paste here and clean the old stuff off here, and then when you put it together it will squish down. I'm not doing that right now because my thermal paste is on a delivery van from Amazon somewhere. I'll do that off camera. So the putting back together is pretty much the same as taking it apart, it's just backwards. So instead of you having to watch all of that, I'll just speed through this quickly. So for the last 4 screws here, you've got to remember to change your screwdriver over, but I'm not going to use a screwdriver, I'm just going to use some magic. So, and done! There we go! Must remember to put the SD card back in. Lovely, so let's make sure it still works. Excellent, it needs a bloody good clean on the outside, but it works. Right, so fingers crossed they should work. So let's start with the blue side, which wasn't faulty in the first place, but I could have made faulty by replacing the rail. Oh, that feels really solid and secure now. That's really good. Right, and here was the dodgy one. Excellent, there we go. It's working as it should do. Oh, I can't tell you how happy I am to fix something, because although I've been doing Fix It Fridays, I haven't actually been able to fix many things, but this is definitely a success. Now, if you're interested, I do have 2 replacement Joy-Con rails that go on the Joy-Cons themselves, And if you want to see me do a video on replacing those, then do let me know in the comments. But I can give this back to James now and he will be a very, very happy boy. Excellent, I'm really happy. Well, if this video has been helpful to you in any way and you've replaced yours by watching it, then please do make sure you drop me a comment and give me a thumbs up as well. But yeah, I think that is about it from me. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, but for now, it's game over.